Hello, and welcome to this audiobook summary of The Catcher in the Rye, written by J.D. Salinger and considered one of the most influential coming-of-age novels in world literature. This story explores the struggles of a young man dealing with the pains of growing up, feelings of loneliness, alienation from society, and a deep desire to protect innocence. Enjoy listening. The main character of the novel, Holden Caulfield, is a 16-year-old boy. The story begins with Holden narrating his past experiences from a mental health facility where he is being treated. He starts his story from the moment he gets expelled from school. This final school, Pensy Prep, is just one of the many schools he has failed out of. He has flunked 4 subjects and is dismissed right before the Christmas holidays. However, instead of returning home, he decides to spend a few days alone in New York City because he doesn't want to disappoint his parents just yet. Before leaving Pensy, he visits one of his elderly teachers, Mr. Spencer. Mr. Spencer offers him advice about life and responsibility, but Holden finds his words insincere and shallow. To Holden, everything in the adult world is phony and superficial. He believes people wear masks and pretend to be something they're not. This obsession with phoniness drives most of Holden's relationships throughout the novel. Upon arriving in New York, Holden checks into a cheap hotel. The atmosphere is dark and depressing. People spy on one another and seem suspicious of each other. One night, Holden calls for a prostitute, but when she arrives, he doesn't want to sleep with her. Instead, he just wants to talk. This moment reveals Holden's emotional confusion. He's curious about sex, but deeply longs for real connection. The prostitute and her pimp scam him, leaving Holden feeling even more humiliated and alone. Later, Holden meets up with his childhood friend Sally Hayes. They go to the theater and spend the day together. At first, everything seems fine, but suddenly Holden suggests that they run away together and live in the countryside. Sally finds the idea ridiculous and refuses, which leads to a fight. This scene shows how disconnected Holden is from reality and how much he clings to unrealistic ideals. Rather than adapting to society, Holden dreams of escaping it entirely. Holden struggles to communicate with others. He desperately wants authentic human connection, but every attempt ends in disappointment. He meets with a former classmate, Carl Luce, but their conversation also falls flat. Carl belittles him, and Holden can't express himself clearly. This inability to bond with others pushes Holden deeper into isolation. At the same time, he constantly thinks about his younger brother Allie, who died of leukemia. Allie symbolizes innocence for Holden. His death marks the beginning of Holden's emotional breakdown and distrust toward the world. The purest and most heartfelt relationship Holden has is with his little sister Phoebe. In Holden's eyes, Phoebe remains untouched by the world's lies. She's honest, smart, and full of love. One night, Holden sneaks into their home to talk to her. He pours his heart out, and Phoebe immediately senses his emotional turmoil. Holden tells her he wants to run away, and when Phoebe insists on coming with him, he realizes he can't ruin her future. During this conversation, Holden shares his dream with Phoebe. He says he wants to be the catcher in the rye, someone who catches children before they fall off a cliff while playing in a rye field. This metaphor, which gives the novel its title, reflects Holden's desire to protect childhood innocence from the corruption of adulthood. Deep down, he fears growing up and stepping into the adult world. Before saying goodbye to Phoebe, they go to the zoo. Phoebe rides the carousel while Holden watches her from a nearby bench. As he sits in the rain, watching his sister laugh, he feels genuinely happy for the first time. He isn't trying to change or control her, he just lets her be. This moment is one of quiet beauty and suggests a small but meaningful shift in Holden's perspective. Perhaps for the first time, he experiences peace. The narrative voice is deeply personal. Since Holden tells the story himself, the language is raw, natural, and full of emotional ups and downs. His speech is often disorganized and erratic, but this adds authenticity. Holden is smart and sensitive, yet impulsive and angry. His rebellion against the world is actually a cry for sincerity and truth. He expresses mature ideas, but often reacts like a child in honest reflection of adolescence. At the end of the novel, Holden reveals that he's been telling his story from a mental institution. He doesn't give details about the location or what happened with his family afterward, but he does admit that he misses some of the people he talked about. This suggests that he's beginning to soften emotionally and may be ready to reconnect with the world. He's no longer as bitter and closed off as before. Holden Caulfield's story is the inner scream of a boy who refuses to grow up. After all the pain, loss, and loneliness, he clings to innocence and purity. He questions everything: adults, school, relationships, even religion. But underneath all that rebellion lies a child who simply wants to be loved, understood, and protected. His only defense against a world full of lies and hypocrisy is to preserve the child within. The Catcher in the Rye is not just a teenage novel. It's a story about alienation and the human struggle to find one's place in the world. It resonates with anyone who has ever felt disconnected, misunderstood, or out of place. At some point in our lives, we've all felt like Holden Caulfield, angry, confused, lonely, but desperately in need of love and truth. The Catcher in the Rye, written by J.D. Salinger, is more than just a novel. It's a journey inward. Seeing the world through Holden Caulfield's eyes reminds us all of what it means to grow up. I hope this audiobook summary left an impression on you. Thank you for listening. See you in the next book.